Nyx is the Greek goddess and personification of night. A shadowy figure, Nyx stood at or near the beginning of the creation of time, and mothered many other personified deities, including Hypnos, sleep, and Thanatos, death. Her consort was Erebus, the god of darkness. Nyx is the first child of chaos, a void state preceding the creation of the universe in Greek creation myths. Nyx is typically portrayed as either a winged goddess with a dark cloud halo, or dressed in black surrounded by a dark mist. According to the Roman mythographer Hyginus, Nyx's Roman equivalent Nox, which is personified night, was the offspring of Collegio, which is personified mist. In Hesiod's Theogony, Nyx lives within Tartarus, which in Greek mythology is a deep abyss that is used as a dungeon of torment and suffering for the wicked, and as a prison for the Titans. Tartarus is the place where souls are judged after death, and where the wicked receive divine punishment. Even the powerful god of thunder and lightning, Zeus, feared the great mother of night. In the Iliad of Homer, Hypnos, Nyx's son, put Zeus to sleep per the request of another goddess that was attempting to cause Zeus's son Hercules great misfortune. Zeus was furious, and would have cast Hypnos into the sea if he had not fled back to his mother Nyx. Zeus's fear of Nyx kept him at bay, and so Hypnos escaped his wrath. It is said that this happened on more than one occasion, and each time Hypnos would run back to his mother, and each time he was safe from any consequences. Nyx's lack of prominence is reflected in the way that she was worshipped, as Nyx had no cult of her own, nor any temples. Instead, she was worshipped in the background of other cults. For example, there was a statue called Night in the Temple of Artemis. There are other claims that Nyx was the earliest owner of the Oracle of Delphi. There are other reports of animals being sacrificed to Nyx, including black roosters, black bulls, and black sheep. Nyx is still worshipped today by some practicing pagans and Wiccans. Their offerings to the goddess include items like night-blooming flowers, moonstone, and other things relating to the moon and the night itself. Underneath the lands between reside the eternal cities, the origin of the night folk. Few in number, they are said to bleed silver long ago. Their bloodline could have ties with the creation of silver tears. The Nox that remain monitoring the ancient city are gray-skinned, just as the night folk. The Yurumi is a flexible blade of metal, wielded like a whip by night folk warriors, which mirrors the same characteristics and forging techniques as the Nox's flowing weapons. When silver tears transform to defend their city, they turn into a preset that looks similar to the night folk option. Could the night folk be descendants of silver tears that over time interbred with, or took the form of humans? This slowly dilutes their silver blood over the course of multiple generations. Side note, we know that bloodlines are obviously important in the lands between, just as they were in the feudal era. After looking into Darien and Devon, I wondered if they were a product of both the Nox and Numen bloodline. Their appearance seems to be a combination of the Nox's pale complexion and the Numen's longer hair. Plus, their blade states that they are accursed beings. They wear gold and silver armor, with the gold holding up the silver, and the silver's eyes blindfolded in a similar fashion to the Nox. The ancient Andeans learned to add silver to gold, creating an alloy with a lower melting point and increased hardness, allowing the gold to be worked more easily. Silver and gold paired together had an important symbolic relationship of dualism in some ancient Andean cultures. Pairs of objects, one gold and another silver, were often created together. Gold and silver metals provided an essential symbolic link between the Incas and the cosmos. Mamakilla, Mother Moon, was the wife of the sun, and her essence was silver, tears of the moon. An important temple in Inca Cusco was dedicated to the moon goddess and attended by priestesses. Mamakilla is one of the most important deities from the Incan mythology, and her figure is believed to be the source of some, or all, of the silver on Earth. One theory is that the Numen created the night folk from silver tears, and that these night folk eventually interbred with astrologers to create the Carians. At first, this may seem far-fetched, but Numens obviously have a great knowledge of mimic tears, as Radagon is Marika's mimic, plus Marika's associated item of the mimic veil. Numen society had the Black Knives, an all-female group of assassins, while the Nox mirrored them with a matriarchal religious caste system, where the highest rank is the twin crown knight maiden. Speaking of the Black Knives, their armor has the same bluish-silver glow as Latenna's, the albinaurics armor. The Nox worship the Black Moon, acting as a religious sect within the ancient cities. The surviving Nox we encounter are priests and monks, both titles that carry religious affiliation. The Nox pray to the night sky for their Lord of Night to arrive to begin the new age of stars. Their beliefs clash with the Golden Order, leading to the Nox's creation of the Finger Slayer blade, a blade that could directly challenge the Greater Will. To lessen the threat the Nox posed to the Golden Order, the Greater Will banished them far away from their treasured night sky. Without access to the night sky, the Nox feared that their Lord of Night would never come, so they resorted to creating a Lord themselves. To create a powerful Lord, the Nox tested multiple options. We come across many of the Nox's failed experiments, from the anguished bodies scattered around the city frozen into stone, to the Dragonkin, in which Nox used the Silver Tears to mimic the strength of both dragons and trolls. The Nox were desperate for a Lord, but their artificial life forms could not compare to the strength needed to defeat the Elden Beast. The Church of Absolution allows others to forgive you of your transgressions. A Nox priestess is in that church. Do you think that they knew how desperate they were, and that they did regret their failed experiments to the point where they created a system of atonement? In the Age of Stars ending, the Lord of Night is revealed to be Ranni, and through her alignment with the Dark Moon, she brought about the long-awaited age that the Nox were desperately trying to achieve. Ranni is said to be Renala's daughter, therefore she is Carian royalty, the Lunar Princess, and has ties to the Astrologers, who once gazed up to the night sky from the dark peaks of the mountaintops of the Giants. Going a step further, we can theorize that the Carian family share heritage, either cultural or bloodline related, with the Nox. This is evident from the fact that the Carian sigil is the mirrored version of the Nox's sigil, as well as their worship of both the moon and the night sky. Not to mention, Renala's ties to the Church of Absolution, her use of Silver Tears, and the Carian's creation of the albinaurics, which mirror the Silver Tears. In fact, many Silver Tear creations have mobility issues, albinaurics mirroring the Nox's Dragonkin. Celia, the town of sorcery, sits above the eternal city of Nokron, home to the Nox. Celia was once known for its assassin sorcerers that focused on spells from the school of night sorcery. Night sorceries consist of casting illusions and utilizing darkness that conceal the caster. These night sorceries are aptly named because they originate from the Nox, which, as we talked about before, can translate to night. One of these spells is the Night Maiden's Mist. Its description mentioned that this spell is connected to the Maidens of Nokron. This reminded me of how the Roman deity Nox was the offspring of Collegio, which is associated with mist, specifically a mist that fogs or blinds mortal eyes, which again ties into the cloth that the Nox used to protect their eyes. As mentioned, Nyx mothered many other personified deities. Reflecting on the Nox's ruins, we can see a clear parallel with the personas that the Greek goddess Nyx birthed. Nokron, a doomed ancient city that is eternally resting in a deep slumber, dreaming for a Lord of Night to save them from their pain and destruction. Thank you so much for your time today, and as always, I hope you have a wonderful week.